We are live. Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Truth in Plain Sight Live. This is your host Vika, and joining me today are two guests. One is our co-host, like always, Celino. Welcome, Celino. How are you doing?
Very well, my friend. Very well. Enjoying this evening.
Nice to have you here, like always, Celino. It's a pleasure. And our other guest is our friend who runs a Facebook page for Portugal, Facebook group, Flat Earth Facebook group for Portugal. He's a good shooter and he's joining us today. To Akala. Welcome, Akala. How are you doing, brother?
Hello, Zika. I'm very good, thank you.
Yes, yes. Nice to have you here too. So
You're
many,
welcome.
many, many, many people think that all the communications, what we are having today, the internet, everything is because of satellites, and I
Well,
think that's a
they was
huge
con-
problem.
they was convinced by the TV, because all the time they said satellites connection, TV satellite connection. Do you remember?
Exactly.
Yes,
Yeah, they think they have to move the antenna to get the satellite. But the antenna is looking always in the same way.
Same position.
exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, but, but only to broadcast by the main server of the telecommunications of the country, nothing more. Besides that, it goes underground or on the sea.
True. Exactly.
It's very interesting. I did work on communication sometimes, especially for cell phone companies, and we connect some kind of satellites. They provide you information, you connect satellite, but it's very strange, very weird because I did work on that. I did connect satellites, and they provide you all the information, but you never see the satellite. You really don't know what you are connecting, and they give you some kind of position at the sky, and you point that position, and they said that is the satellite, and we think, but the satellites don't moves. Not is there. I don't understand why is there.
because because you think that you use the satellite phones in the old time, that's why you think that the satellite could have exist,
uh
Celino.
no, right. They said satellites did exist because you work with satellites. They give you the access to satellites. They give you the access. You access the
Yeah.
satellite, but you really don't know what you're connecting. And in theory, the satellite is moving on over the earth. You know,
Let
Yeah.
me just
the
Yeah, go
satellite,
ahead, go ahead.
the
Go ahead,
satellite.
Akala.
They said the satellite is moving on. It's moving all the time. But when you work with satellites, they give you an exact position at the sky. They said it's in that position, and you must to try to connect with the antenna.
Yeah, but the funny thing is, they say they that you connect to a satellite, but in reality, you don't connect to a satellite. You connect to a service that is somewhere around the world,
Right?
and an antenna that is somewhere nearby us or far away from us, that then goes connect to underground and send the signal to whatever has to go. You know.
Looks
Exactly.
for me, satellites does exist, but are in gloves.
Yeah,
Uh,
the satelloons, you mean the balloons, the
Yes,
ah,
balloons.
in my
okay.
opinion, are balloons. Are balloons.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah, this one exists from the Roswell. The Roswell was supposed to be a balloon crash.
Yes.
The satellites, their satellite times. Looks
Oh,
like.
okay, okay. I get it. Yeah, okay, makes sense. But the thing is, uh, what you exactly saying is, okay, you may believe on something, that it doesn't exist, but because you get information that something exists doesn't mean that it really exists. You know what I mean, Sileno?
Right.
Um,
Right. I
So,
understand totally. Right.
many people think that is the satellites which is responsible for all this communication and this video transfer data. So I would like you all to listen this one moment, okay, please.
Okay.
okay.
Okay. You heard that ultra pure glass is capable of transferring video image data at very high speed, light or speed through these cables. We are speaking about all type of communication going through these cables under the sea. You get my
Amazing.
point?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah. So
Fiber internet directly to the home. But let's face it, most of us don't live in an area where we can get 100% fiber. And waiting around for Google to show up and save the day with an army of construction workers might take
So,
a
so what is really happening is all this communication that this cable is connecting from all different countries under the sea cables. These cables come to the server points, okay? And these servers, you have antennas where you see all these antennas all around the world, is transmitting this data in form of Wi-Fi, okay? Wi-Fi, how we call it in Spain, in
Right.
Spanish, English, Wi-Fi. So that's how really the data is moving internationally.
Um, I, I don't gonna say too much, but that's not 100% true. True. I'm gonna say this because I'm making a course right now, and all the information comes by cable. Period. The i5 connections, the only thing that it does is go and make a connection to a central, and then by the central they decipher the signal and send it back to the cable. Make
Exactly. Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. But they're using. You're speaking about copper cable, right? You're speaking about copper cable, or you're speaking about fiber optics. It's two different things.
Yeah, but it's the same thing. It may look like different, but it isn't. It is the same thing. The only thing is the fiber optic cables uh, gonna give more speed if you have a good computer for that. Besides that, it doesn't gonna do nothing different between the old model from the new model. It may
Exactly.
sound strong, it may sound strong, strange, but it doesn't gonna make no difference between one. It's like the 5G. They say 5G is better technology, but in reality, it isn't. It doesn't gonna make no difference. It's gonna kill us more fast. That's
Yeah,
what
but it.
they gonna do.
Yeah, but the 5G is only that is gonna be the more speed. The is gonna be much more higher speed of the communication. That's what is gonna be 5G. You know, understand me?
That's what they sell to you or to us. But in
Yeah.
reality, it doesn't gonna give you more speed. You may think that it's gonna give you more speed, but in reality, it doesn't gonna give you more speed. It's gonna kill you more faster.
What do you
Uh,
think, uh, Celino?
Yes.
What do you think about that? So about the what Akala said.
I did work on communications. I did work for real, and I did work on Nav of the Americas, one of the most biggest connection points in the world. Yes, the access is all fiber and copper, like he said. But sometimes they use some kind of shit in the sky.
Okay, yeah, maybe. I'm not gonna say no because I don't know everything, but yeah, maybe. But I don't believe that they use. If they use it, well, maybe they do. I cannot say too much about that because I'm not very informed. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
And
we work on Mexico with that because in some areas
Uh huh.
the internet doesn't that well
Sending a signal.
we don't have signals because they are very rural areas. Well, in that areas you can buy an antenna, a big antenna, and
Uh huh. Uh
you
huh.
can put in un cerro, in un monte.
Sim, sim, sim. No monte, sim. I
See,
get it. On the hill. Yeah.
yes, you put that antenna in a hill, and you build a local network,
Uh huh.
and you can provide internet to a community. So you receive from sky for real.
Okay. Okay.
In my
Okay.
opinion, are well, we see that we see their gloves.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Probably
yeah,
that is
yeah, it's communicated by air, but the source is through the cables. I mean,
right.
for
Exactly.
example,
They
check
just
this.
used to connect that like a connection
Yeah,
point between two
this
points.
check this video, check this one. Is really, you're gonna understand why it's so important through the cables that we see this. Okay, just give me one moment. I'm gonna put full screen and I'm gonna share. Okay.
That mobile phone in your hand is a stunning piece of technology that's almost completely useless without a network to power it. When you're at home or in the office, that's taken care of by Wi Fi. But when you go out into the world, you need a cellular network to keep you connected. That's why you see cell towers all over the place these days.
We use cell phones every day to stay connected with our family, work, and communities. But have you ever thought about how your cell phone works? A carrier has an extensive network of cell sites and switches designed to send and receive signals from everyone's cell phones. To maximize coverage and network availability, carriers place cell sites throughout communities in strategic patterns, as each site can only cover a specific area and number of users. The strategic site patterns ensure that the coverage radius of adjoining sites, often depicted as hexagons, overlap just slightly to provide seamless handoff of calls between.
So you understand how the mobile take coverage to different to cell towers through triangulation. You getting here?
Right.
Yes. Yes. But
Here we explaining, now we are into navigation, no? So how the so-called, they are saying GPS is working is through, because of this information through the servers passing through these Wi-Fi antennas. Okay.
Right.
exactly. But they send signals by the air and not by satellites. And
Yes, exactly.
so I get it. What do you mean, Selena, when you put it on the antenna on the top of the hill? But again, you send and receive a signal from the air, not by a satellite, but from another spot. Let's call it this way, where he's gonna get the signal. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. I know there is not a satellite like they say,
Mm-hmm.
because
Hmm.
the satellite moves on the sky, and
Exactly. Yeah.
they told you on a straight point at the sky. They tell you in position 169.132.85.61 is the satellite, they said.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
that is that is what we do, and
Exactly.
we try to locate the satellite, they said, and well, comes down the signal, and we have internet. Is right. So
Yeah.
the strange things is the satellites is all the time in the same position.
This,
How can that be?
uh, it could be by one thing. Uh, those coordinations that you receive is gonna send is gonna pick it will gonna be picked up by uh, um, let's say a satellite. I don't like to call that name, but we're gonna call it right now a satellite. Then it's gonna to another service that is nearby that signal, and then gonna send it to you and send it back to them at the same time. You know
Yes, yes,
what I
yes.
mean? Because let's keep
Yes,
in
yes.
mind.
We never see a satellite. We never
Mhm.
see a satellite, or we never see what we are connecting. We don't know. We really don't know. I did work with some kind of satellites, but I don't know
Yes,
what was that. I don't
uh,
know
Okay,
what was,
okay.
where
What
what. I don't
what we're gonna do? What we're gonna do is going to the next step of the use of satellite, where they say that they need satellite also for the next type of navigation, and
yes,
that's
Okay.
yes.
not true. Okay, let's go ahead.
Okay, let's
Makes
go.
Okay, okay.
sense. As cells are to your body, cell cycle.
Hi, my name is Josh Kallenberg, and I'm here at the Van Nuys Airport in Los Angeles, California. I've been flying professionally for about 13 years, and now I have the pleasure of flying this Gulfstream G450, which is a lot of fun and exciting. And today, I'm going to talk to you about becoming a pilot. So, some of you might want to learn how to navigate an airplane. There's several methods that we use. Some of the basic methods that we use from the primary training is what we call pilotage. It's basically using references outside, buildings, towers, certain mountains as reference landmarks to navigate around. That's usually good for smaller airplanes or when we're in a fast moving jet, when you're coming in the terminal environment or around the airport, you might use that method. Means of navigation is a radio navigation, and that's where we follow.
Exactly. So in air navigation, there is no use of satellite also. Okay. The most they use is radio navigation through transponders. In this video, it's explained the whole thing. Exactly how it works. They use
Hmm.
DME, VOR for the location of the plane. The plane have a transponder, and the transponder sends a signal to the station which is on the ground. Okay, this is how keep receiving and sending signals. They can locate the plane, the height, and this is how the plane navigates to the flat plane. Okay.
And there is one other thing. Uh, there is another video that you don't gonna display today. That there is a crew saying from flying to from Europe to New York or America, they have um, GPS coordinates already established, and then they put on the airplane, and the airplane will gonna fly by that direction. They, because they don't
Exactly.
have no GPS, they have only the coordinations of the destinations that they have to go.
Exactly. And this is called VOR. It's like a radio frequency that all planes use for navigation. This is the more important than any GPS and all this, because okay, they use GPS, but I have a whole n- video dedicated to only to GPS, also
Hmm.
explaining how the GPS works without internet and without satellites. But we'll be covering, there's so many things, but we'll be covering a little bit by little how many we can. Okay, here they're explaining how the plane uses the VOR is the same 360-degree
The
angle.
station is oriented to magnetic north and sends out 360 radials. Each radial represents a heading from the station. When visualizing a VOR, think of a bicycle wheel. Each radial is a heading from the station. So when you fly over the VOR and track a radial from the station, you are essentially tracking a heading away from the station. It is important to remember that VOR radials do not account for winds. So remember that your in-flight heading may be different from the radial which you are tracking. Eventually, you will enter the cone of confusion once near a VOR. This will be apparent once the CDI needle begins to dance back and forth, followed by
Okay, this is very much in, you can go very much in detail, but this is how the navigation of the plane works, so every station of VOR sends you a 360-degree line where you can, it's like tracks for planes, where you can go from north to south or east to west. You understand? It's a way of
Uh-huh.
locating, of plane locating its position on the map. Okay,
Hmm.
this is how it, and then we go ahead.
full deflection once over the VOR. If
And this is DME. What is the
DME is an
DME? Is a distance measurement equipment that actually measure the distance of the plane from the point from where it's getting the signals. Okay.
DME is an aircraft system that measures the slant range distance from aircraft to ground-based station. The DME can transmit and receive one of 252 channels spaced at 1 MHz intervals. The channels are split into X and Y channel. Each channel have 126 channels. Each channel transmit and receive on frequency that are spaced 63 MHz apart. This is air to ground signal, while this is ground to air signal. An aircraft sends an interrogating pulse, and the ground station transponder responds by retransmitting a strong answering signal to be received by the aircraft. The DME equipment on board the aircraft converts the signal from the DME beacon into a digital readout of distance in nautical mile.
See, you don't need satellites for any kind of
Hmm.
navigation. Okay, no, no. When you are in walking with your mobile phone in your hand, when you're in a car with your mobile phone GPS, or you are in a plane, and the next one we're gonna do is the marine, the ships. They also don't use nothing com- related to satellites.
Today I'll show you the bridge, the command center, the brain of the vessel. Entering through the stairs, we'll start off from the bridge wing. This barbecue stove looking thingy on both port and starboard bridge wing. It's a remote panel. Here you find controls for the bow thrusters, indicators for speed, engine RPM, rate of turn, heading, compass, speaker and mic. This is a gyro repeater for taking bearings of objects or celestial bodies.
So, bueno, ese instrumento es para coger calculación o sorry, I'm started speaking in Spanish. Sorry, man. Celino. So this instrument is, it's for measuring with celestial body, so you can have your location. The ship can have its location. Why do you need these kind of instruments if we have satellites, right?
Right?
Exactly. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Sereno.
No, no, you, it's okay. I am just agreeing with
Yeah,
Vic about this.
yeah. Well, same here. I mean, um, they know we are on a flat place or no, or in a flat earth, and they know we don't need no GPS, no nothing. We just need coordinations um, to get our destinations. But since we people in general don't know nothing, we think, okay, there's a world outside of us, so we need space and all that kind of stories.
True. Yes, Celino, go ahead. And you?
I think they we have the maps and we have all registered, so they have more information that they tell to us. So they just use the mechanical data to locate the position of the sea. So it's true.
Yes, it's so much mathematical, but physical mathematics, geographical mathematics with geography involved with all the locations. That's how they navigate. They don't. Let's go ahead. You see how? Why are you calculating with this instrument the
This
sun?
tall chair is a pilot chair.
Exactly.
There's
Yeah.
always a designated pilot chair for maritime pilots,
Why
no matter
he
what type of ship
needed
you're
this
on.
kind of hair chair? I mean,
An azimuth ring,
If they
which
use,
Another
controls
if
the
if
instrument.
gyro
if
gear
they
of the
really
Yeah,
sky
use
for
the
in-air
satellites,
objects.
yeah. This is azimuth ring they're using. Yeah. Why if they use this? Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Celino.
if they use really satellites, the chips didn't disappear, but chips disappeared every year.
Exactly, and yeah, and planes and
Everything.
exactly. Go ahead.
exactly. Yeah.
SART on each side of the bridge. SART is short for Search and Rescue Radar Transponder. This is what it looks like when it's activated. The other ships can locate you from the radars. Fireplan,
That's what. Okay, yes. Go
By
ahead.
the red.
damage control plan.
You saw that. The radar that it sends the ship itself sends can locate the other ships around. Okay, it's nothing
Exa-
to do with satellite. Okay, listen
Exactly.
again.
That's
SART is short for Search and Rescue Radar Transponder. This is what it looks like when it's activated. The other ships can locate you from the radars. Fire plan, damage control plan, dangerous good plan, all for emergency use.
There's no stopping it. Titanic will founder.
Moving on to the center console, this is where most of electronic navigation equipments are. Starting from the port side, we've got 3 radars. One radar antenna on the forward mast and 2 at the back on the main mast.
You see how he's
Numerous
locating the ships.
indicators,
uh-huh.
Gyro heading,
Lorenz-C, which no one uses anymore, AIS, Automatic Identification System for ship,
and
ECDIS, short for
this is ECDIS. This is the more important. This is ECDIS. Is a system. It's an electronic chart system. Okay, why they need to use an electronic chart system? Like before, they used to use the chart. Before this was electronic. It's a ECDIS. With this
Mm-hmm.
electronic chart display information system, our Google Map. Okay, that's their real map to navigate in the seas. Okay, just check how it's working. You see, you can locate all the ships, how
for
it's
Electronic
moving.
Chart Display Information System.
You see this, they have a
It's
route.
a digital version of paper charts.
You heard what he said. It's a digital version of paper charts.
Right.
Exactly.
They have
Nothing to
all
do with
mapped.
satellites.
They have all
Nothing to
mapped.
do with
I'm
nothing
sorry.
to do with satellites.
Right. And we know the world.
We know we everything is been mapped, and this is very important to understand. This is very important to understand because even the GPS is working because of these maps and with electromagnetic vibrations and everything to the because of the north and everything. It's more, but we're gonna discuss this in more in further episodes. Let's go ahead with this, and this is almost done.
Gents, I give you the fountain of youth.
Sadly, we still use paper charts in conjunction with electronic charts. It's a digital version of paper charts.
Gents, I give you the fountain of youth.
Sadly, we still use paper charts in conjunction with electronic charts. We still use paper charts in conjunction
Oh,
with electronic charts.
you mind to stop for a second?
Just a sec. Yep. One moment.
Okay.
I'm gonna change the video.
That just makes no fucking
Okay.
sense. I mean, it's just bullshit.
Exactly. It's bullshit. Exactly, Neil. You're fucking right. uh, you
Yeah,
remember
go
when
ahead,
he
go
said,
ahead.
okay, do you remember what at the end of this video when he said we still use sharp maps, but instead of showing the flat Earth map, they use the globe format map, so they can then calculate the real flat map that they are navigating.
Yes.
You know, you know what I mean? Like they put us the round map, and then he tries to calculate what it is, but in reality, it's moving
We don't hear you
towards
very
another.
clearly. We don't hear you very clearly, Akash.
Okay, my internet connection is getting loose.
Now
Can you
it's
hear me
better.
now?
Now
Better?
is yeah, now it's better.
Okay.
Go ahead.
On at the end of the movie, he said that we still use the maps, right? But
Yeah.
instead of giving or putting a flat Earth map, they put it a globe map, right? Why they put it a globe instead of a flat Earth map? Because when they do the calculations, they're gonna do it exactly as if it was flat because they know it is flat.
Yeah, yeah, that's why I was saying, because not only the oceans, even the geographic land is been
Mhm.
mapped. Everything, every inch of the known world is mapped. There cannot
Exactly.
be differences. And what the
Exactly.
point was that also that they are using still electronic chart system, okay, and they are using the other compasses to align with celestial bodies. They are using their own radars to locate their own self and communicate with other ships. Okay, they are not using any satellites. That's the point.
Yes, yes,
What
yes.
I'm trying to.
Um,
Yes, Elino. What do you think? What do you think too?
I think the same. For they are not using GPS, and it's very clear they are not using GPS. They have all mapped and all the structure of the world, very, very more detailed that they tell to us.
Exactly. So I have we have to go through this video and then we have the GPS, but this one is really nice also. This one now is explaining these are the new data about the sea cables. Okay. Now is
Really?
the new speed, the new transfer system, which companies. It's a very interesting one. Just we go ahead with this.
Simply isn't the case. The internet, believe it or not, is a physical network connected on land and under the ocean,
Listen
possible
again.
by satellites.
Mhm.
Simply isn't the case. The internet, believe it or not, is a physical network connected on land and under the ocean. A solution needed to be found how we could connect everyone across the globe. After the invention of fiber optics, this technology soon spread across the world. Fiber optic lines are run from town to town and city to city on land, but when it comes to crossing the ocean, a special cable and ship was needed to pull it. Data is transferred on fiber optics, or these strands of perfect glass with pulses of light. When created, the bidirectional fibers are color coded, with each color indicating a direction of data flow. Having a cable that lives in the ocean took some specific engineering. First off, the fiber optic strands are the width of a human hair and are coated with gel to keep them in place in this first layer of protection in a plastic tube. Around the plastic tube are steel wires that add needed strength and protection. The next layer is made of copper, which not only adds additional strength, but transfers power to repeaters. Repeaters are these canister like devices that amplify the light every 50 miles or 80 kilometers so the signal will make it to the other side of the ocean. The final layer is made of plastic which insulates the entire package. This is the basic oceanic cable configuration, but cables placed near shallow areas close to shore or commercial fishing areas need more protection. Two additional layers of galvanized steel capped with nylon thread and tar will be added for these areas. These cables are manufactured and spun in giant reels, which go into pans in this large facility. When ships head out to sea, they'll have around 100 pans to finish the job. When it's time to load the ship that'll carry the cables out to sea, a series of conveyor belts called the cable highway pulls the cables into a large spool at the base of the ship's hull. An entire crew working 12-hour shifts for a month is what it'll take to get the ship ready to pull a new internet cable. The ship will make its way to its starting location and get as
You see how it's
close as
connecting.
possible to the beach while
Mm.
becoming beached itself. Cable is floated out to shore and then buried in the sand. As the ship starts to leave the coast, a remote operated plow. This device will bury the cable as the ship moves. Dense, rigid sea floors only require the cable to be buried a small
Amazing. It's
ways
all
underneath. The
connected.
floor is soft and gooey. The plow will have to work
Underground.
much harder and
Yes,
embed the
it's
cable much
amazing.
lower. Plows like the ROV-6 can perform this work up
This
to
is this is
6,500.
this is how every the communication is working. They are working so hard. It's around 1 million kilometers of cables laid around all over the sea, all over the ocean and sea. 1 million kilometers is crazy. And then you have points, hot points where the cable meets. You imagine if somebody break all these cable in the ocean, the people is gonna go crazy. Everybody is gonna freak out with no internet. You can imagine, right?
Exactly. And there is a video I was trying to give it to you before we start this event. Uh, it's from Norway, I think. There is a guy in one place over there who's looking for the cables of the internet. He's checking if there is the connections are still going on, if there is no boats passing by those cables to break the signal or something like that. And
Exactly.
it,
Exactly.
and again, it's funny. All underground, no satellites, no nothing. Everything
Nothing,
is
nothing. Everything on the ground. Let's go ahead.
Feet or 2,000 meters below the surface of the ocean. Robotic arms and jets help put the cable into the ground, and treads allow it to traverse on the ocean's floor. These robots are controlled from the comfort of the ship with small scale replicas. These ships have designated routes already planned where the ocean floor is flat and smooth for easy placement. When
Yeah.
crossing places
You heard the ocean floor is flat and smooth for easy placement when crossing. Yes, right, because it's all abyssal plains. The most of the
exactly.
oceans and seas are abyssal plains, are flat.
Amazing.
uh, um,
places like the
again,
Atlantic Ocean, the Atlantic Ridge is an underwater rocky mountain range which requires the cable to be reinforced within that region. Now, you might be wondering, do these cables have to be laid in one piece? Can they be repaired if damaged? Do sea life attack these cables? Well, first off, yes, sharks have been known to bite and gnaw on them, but don't typically get through the cables. If they have been damaged, they can be repaired. When laying a new line of cable, commonly there are two ships doing this job, one from either side, and they'll
Wow, check the whole route is connecting all the countries. It's
hmm
crazy, yeah.
meet somewhere in the middle. When they meet, the cables will be fused together, and this is the basics of how we have our internet today.
Because of the network of cables being laid, we now have the opportunity to have services like Backblaze, which is our sponsor. First off, I just want to say I contacted Back hard drives sitting in your house
Beginning in 1854 and complete
Okay, this
1850
is
are new because of this massive new fiber optic.
really took out our sponsor Backblaze. There's a link in
With we have, the act of pulling cables across the ocean isn't. The first transatlantic telegraph cable was laid on August 16th, 1858, between Ireland and the province of Newfoundland in Canada.
this also is in 1958 they already had this cable connecting the
hold on.
telegraph system.
Yeah, but that is not true. If you see the map that I gave it to you, that isn't displayed yet, that map is from 1946.
Yeah, they
So
have some cables. Yeah. Go
it's
ahead, go ahead. Yeah.
it's an old map. It's I think one of the first maps that they created to show the internet cables connections, and it's from 1946. I mean, like, is there was any computer at that time, or what we
We
call
never know. We
exactly,
never
yeah,
know. We never know.
exactly. So it's kind of funny to see
Yeah.
these connections in 58 for this kind of type of technology. They use it at the time. It's hilarious, like I used to say.
True. True.
Canada. The idea was proposed in 1840, with construction beginning in 1854 and completing 4 years later.
You see,
This cable must have seemed like
1854. You're reading that? It's in 1854. They were already
Yeah,
building cables for these.
internet connections,
four and
or
completing
at
four
least they
years
say
later.
internet,
This cable must have seemed like
but not
witchcraft in
our
these days,
internet that
as the
we
only
call
way of
today.
transmitting a message across the
Exactly.
Atlantic at the time was by boat, which
So
took 10
old. It's
days.
amazing.
After the first transatlantic cable was laid, it only took a matter of minutes to communicate with Canada, signaling the project was a big success. That success didn't last long. The signal quality started to fade quickly, which had the chief electrician of the transatlantic telegraph apply excessive voltage in efforts to increase transmission speed. This ended up frying the cable, making it unusable. New cables were laid in 1857 and 58, but wasn't until 1865 when a new design of cable allowed for prolonged use. The invention of repeaters used to amplify
This is the thing. They added this to the new cable that it helps with the flow of more high speed communications.
the signal along the cable were first introduced in 1956. Two cables were laid between Scotland and Newfoundland, one for each direction of communication. Each cable was capable of 35 simultaneous phone calls at once. Amazing to see where we've gone since then. When it comes to underwater data cables, companies with deep pockets like Google, Microsoft, and Facebook will each get 2 threads per.
It's very important. Listen what this is saying. You know, Google, Microsoft, and Facebook will get two strand of line each for their all the communication for all over the world. Now it's very important what he's saying there. You don't need satellites. You don't need satellites for nothing. This is what is making the world communicate.
And even the big
Ship.
companies
One
use
thread
it.
for
Don't
Yes,
use. I
yes.
mean,
Celino is crazy, right? Celino, what do you think?
Right is crazy. Well, we know we need this kind of communication, but most impressive for me is they know how the world is. They know detailedly.
Exactly. Yes, they know every bit of inch of land.
for each direction of data transfer. In 2016, there were 250 active cables. New cables are being laid
250 active cables. You see all the cables. It's crazy. It's like a web. It's like a
exactly.
giant web under the sea.
all the time. And today, as of the release of this video, there are 443 cables. That's over 621,000 miles
Forty
or a
forty three
million
and
kilometers.
getting on.
I'm sorry, I couldn't avoid.
It's true. It's true. It's like this.
There are 443 cables. That's over 621,000 miles or a million kilometers of cable laying on the ocean floor, capable of 10
1 1 million kilometers. That's what I was saying. It's crazy. It's so much. It's how many times around the earth you have to take for 1 million kilometers.
Phew, wow, it's not 40.
Exactly. Yeah, and also somebody was commenting me on this that imagine this map with this cable map. This is on a square map. Imagine putting this on a flat earth map. What image we could get? Could be interesting to do that.
Very interesting.
Yeah, because we're gonna be stunned or uh, how can I say the right word? Surprise.
Surprise. Yes,
Exactly. Yeah,
surprise.
surprise. Yeah,
10
we'd be
gigabytes
like,
per second for single
wow.
fiber, or within the entire cable, 100 to 160 terabits of traffic can be transferred, which is around 70
You see how much terabytes? How much is that? Just one moment. Again.
Uh,
Once again. Once
60
again.
terabits of traffic can be transferred, which is
This is what they're saying on the
100.
cable. Yeah, they're saying
Yeah,
on the cable line. Okay, not on the servers outside. They're speaking about the international change transfer of the
yeah, yeah,
speed. 160 bit,
Terabytes.
100
terabyte.
terabytes
Yeah,
per second. Yes,
yeah.
around
Wow.
That's a lot of
70 million
information.
high
that's around 70 million high definition.
definition videos being streamed at once.
Yeah,
Wow, that is 70 million
Mm-hmm.
videos,
I get
HD videos streaming at once. It's
it.
covering all the communication of all the world at once. With all these cables. You don't need any satellite for this. You are seeing there. You don't need any.
Exactly. Yeah. Um,
with an average depth of 11,000 feet or 3,352 meters below the ocean's surface, coral reefs, shipwrecks, earthquake zones, and active volcanoes, and as mentioned earlier, underwater mountain ranges have to be planned for when laying the cable. Today, advanced 3D layouts and real-time metrics software called Macaulay are used when laying.
Exactly. This is what connect to what you are saying, Celino. They have everything mapped, so they can scan everything and lay how they want. Right?
Right? They know a lot more about the world that they share with us,
oh
and,
yeah.
and they have more detailed maps. Google Maps is cheat, probably.
It's a
It's
blue
it's for the
marble.
yeah. It's for the general mass. The Google Earth.
Google Earth, right?
Yes, and that is funny about the Google Map because they don't give us uh, the extent of mass of land that exists in the south of America that connects to Antarctica. You guys knew that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
And
we have
also,
internet in Antarctica.
yes, yes, we do. Yeah, but the thing is, from South America to Antarctica, you basically just need to swim a little bit or go by boat. Of course, I'm just saying swimming on the funny expression, but because there's a bunch of land almost connecting to Antarctica from South America, they don't give us give us those piece of lands correctly. You
Right.
guys,
Yes,
you guys,
yes.
so Google
We
Maps
go
is
Laying
ahead.
a cable,
yeah, yeah.
We
which
Go
go
ahead.
account
ahead.
for the
Yeah,
cable's
yeah.
properties and force applied on it within the location, contour of the ocean floor with real-time ocean currents as the cable goes out. The software can precisely control the retrieval of the cable for repairs. There are a handful of hotspots where many cables converge. New York, southern Florida, Puerto Rico, U.S. Virgin Islands, Panama, Fortaleza, Brazil, Rio, Sao Paulo, Lagos, Nigeria, Spain, Marseille, France, southern England, Alexandria, Egypt, Oman, Mumbai, India, Singapore, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, Hawaii, and the western coast of the United States. Not only are internet cables hitting the ocean floor, but so are power cables transferring power from offshore renewable energy sources, most predominantly from wind farms. Technology is increasing at a rapid rate. It's been 25 years since the internet was available in households. What technology do you think will arise in the next 25? Hope you enjoyed this episode. If you're interested,
So you get it.
Yeah.
You get how
Mm.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
So that is the reality of the world. It's all connected. They know very detailed, the very detailed, all the map of the real map of the world. They know by sea. They know they don't need the satellites or GPS for anything. So it's
Exactly.
Exactly we saw that in the navigation, nothing in the communication, nothing, and with these cables, they are seeing this is their main way of keeping the world wide web. Is the world wide web, the cable web. This is the real world wide web, which is connected. Yes, true.
Yeah, yeah. It is. It is. World, keep in mind, world wild. I mean, not wild, but world wide web. I mean, the
Yes,
entire world, not the entire space or universe or whatever. It's the world. It's the place where we're living. Um, that's the funny word to for we for
yes, yes.
to people
It's
to try to
the
understand.
VVV. Yes, yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Also, it's the VVV or the 666. Also, no, in a way. Okay,
Exactly. Yeah.
so now that we already saw the communication that don't need satellites, and we also saw that the navigation, we don't need satellite. We saw the cables. So the last thing which I kept was the GPS, and the GPS needs its whole dedication, because very important, because many people think that the GPS satellites, and what we're going to see here is also not true. We don't need satellite for the GPS to work. Okay, we go ahead with this, Celino.
See?
Okay, we just have this one and we are done. Okay,
Okay.
so we are with this now, then we can totally understand that how everything is working without satellites.
Okay. Uh,
lost at sea. It's become a familiar grumble in recent years that in the age of sat-nav, people no longer know how to read a map. Well, something equivalent has become a concern with the US Navy. Its ships navigate by GPS, as you would expect, but the Navy's asked itself what would happen if a cyber strike took the GPS technology down. So this,
Yeah, or the flat earther come to know that satellite don't exist, you know.
yeah, exactly.
it's reintroduced basic training in the lost craft of celestial navigation. Shall we find out what that entails? Sailor, author, and fellow of the Royal Institute of Navigation, Tom Cunliffe, is here to give us a lesson in the unhackable technology. Well, it's the sextant, isn't it?
There it is.
Can you stop for a second?
Yes.
Using the thing.
Did you hear what he said? How to hack this technology?
Yeah. The ancient that yeah, it's the ancient technology, and they don't want to lose this technology because they are not very sure about the GPS and the
Exactly.
satellites. That's what he said.
Exactly. Exactly. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's not difficult at all. Actually, it's a very old instrument. That's from 1942.
This looks pretty old. Yeah,
It is.
way too old.
Yeah, it is. That went around the North Cape in World War II. That one did.
Right. Okay. Well, if we provided you with stars at great expense, we've highlighted Orion. How do you use this to take a position then?
The purpose of the instrument is to measure angles with extreme accuracy. This sextant, this ancient sextant, will measure the angle between one of those stars and the horizon. Let's call that silver line there, the horizon.
Right, okay.
It will measure it.
Shows how you do it. Then what do you do?
Yeah, okay. You grab hold of the sextant. We'll forget about the lanyard.
You want to put that on so you don't drop it in the sea.
That would go on, yes, but we'll not bother with it now.
Right.
We start looking at the star. The light comes from the star. It hits this mirror.
Okay.
Bounces onto that mirror.
Right.
Comes through the telescope and into my eye.
Okay.
Meanwhile, there's a plain glass path to that mirror. That looks straight at the horizon. And the difference between this angle and that one is what I'm seeing, the star and the horizon.
And every time, at every position on Earth, there's a kind of a unique angle for that star and the horizon. So
There
that
is.
gives you
It's not a position, actually, Evan.
It's not a position?
No, it's not a position. It's a position line. If I get that angle, which I can measure to a tenth of a minute of arc, which is 200 yards at the equator, if I measure that accurately and get the time, it will give me a line on a chart.
Wait. Hey, it gives you a line.
A line. And I know I'm on that line, but I don't know where I am.
Whoops.
That's completely useless.
No.
Wait.
Because if I get another line.
No. I said like whoops. A line. I mean, like flat line.
Yes, but what he's trying to explain is that this is how they do the triangulation. You know, it's all about triangulation using maps, ocean charts, compass, sextant, astrolabe. No, so here he was showing the basic way of using a sextant of using the stars.
But the reporter was like kind of confused because when he said the line, he was like, "What do you mean? Like this is a flat or surface, or how do you get the line? How do you get the measures by a line?"
Yeah, but he's explaining. Yeah, but he's gonna explain that. Okay, one moment, we see. Okay.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, because if I get another line.
Okay, sorry. Right, that's triangulation. Okay.
Yeah, you heard what he said, that if he get another line.
Because if I get another line.
Okay, sorry. Right, that's triangulation. Okay, you're going to do it. Right.
Cross.
So you saw that using the from two different points or two different stars, you get a point on a chart. On a chart is a map, which is a flat Earth map. You know, using the stars, using the sextant, they use this.
Exactly.
They get the way of getting their location where they are on the chart. using these
Okay.
celestial and using
Map.
these instruments. Yeah, and using this instrument. So the next is what we are going is going to show how these sextants and how these instrument evolve. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is the more basic
Mm-hmm.
cross staff. You see how it's getting evolved from basic with a string and a wood
Mm-hmm.
astrolabe. You see it's getting, and the compass is the more important
Of
in
course, they need
locating
to know.
yourself. Yeah, locating yourself on this flat earth. This is, and the how it got invented and how it functions. We have to understand this to understand what is really GPS. Okay, so we go ahead with this.
Were especially fascinated with the most mysterious invisible force of all, magnetism. The result of their fascination was the creation of the world's first magnetic compass. This was called a sinon, a section of lodestone, which is naturally magnetic, was carved into the shape of the Big Dipper and placed on a polished board. The circular center of the board represented heaven, and the square represented earth, and the spoon, the Big Dipper. This constellation was especially sacred.
You see the North Star, the this, and it
Mm-hmm.
creates a swastika, and this is how it moves. And all compasses move because of the magnetic energy flowing from this North Pole. You understand me? All the compass, and these, when these people invented the compass, they, with this lodestone, is a special stone, is a magnetic stone, and they put it in, and it automatically is always pointing to the north. That is the how they invented this compass.
Mm-hmm.
As two stars in the Big Dipper always point to the pole star. The Emperor was the earthly counterpart of the pole star, around which all the other stars rotated. Hundreds of years before the first compass was to be found on a European ship, small factories in China mass-produced a variety of compass designs. The world's first prototype of the dry modern navigational compass was called the magnetic
Ah,
turtle.
oh, very interesting. Where a turtle, yeah, actually representing the flat Earth. You see how it
Yeah.
moves to the because of the magnetic energy, how it moves, and it pointing to the north.
South was indicated
Mm-hmm.
by the direction of the needle, which was attached to a magnet concealed inside the model. Around the year 850 AD, Chinese ships began to carry a water compass to
See, already in 850 AD, they were using these compasses for navigation.
help them navigate during murky weather and storms, when there was no way to use the sun or the stars.
You see what also they said when they had no way of using the other instruments like sextants, using the stars and the sun, they were using these kind of compasses to
Yeah,
navigate.
because they need to
Yeah.
know where was the North Pole.
Yes. What do you think, Celino?
I was very impressed because the date of the creation of all these tools, because this means that uh, for real Polaris doesn't move in 2000 years. I
No,
don't.
that's what. Yeah, yeah. That's how the navigation works in all
Yes,
in all. I
it's
didn't add all. Yeah, I didn't add all.
it's very interesting because normally the science said that 400 years ago there are different stars at the sky like the center of the pole north, um, and they are saying right here that Polaris doesn't move in 2000 years, so that proves the earth is flat totally. The sky doesn't move.
exactly, and it's ancient wisdom that they are using this way of navigation from all times, with all the
Yeah,
stars
yes,
and all this.
yes,
And the stars cannot just move. The Polaris cannot move because that's their point of focus. This is where everything connects from the magnetic north to the north pole, and this is where you locate yourself on the flat earth. It's crazy, eh?
right. Very crazy, too. Very interesting too.
Yep,
and
go ahead.
the truth, it's in front of you, but we cannot see it.
Exactly.
Simple mariner's compass would always point south, unlike modern compasses today.
Then Chinese used a little steel needle to replace the spoon. This made the Zhinanzhen easier to carry.
And this was getting more simpler with time, the compass.
600 years ago, Deng He, a famous eunuch of the Ming Dynasty, traveled to Southeast Asia and the Indian Ocean 7 times. Zheng even reached the Red Sea with the help of the Zhinanzhen. The invention boosted the
So he's saying 600 years before they were already navigating the seas with the help of these compasses. That's, I think, much before than Columbus also.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, Columbus.
development of navigation.
Good night, Ray, and Philippines in the house.
Sorry.
Uh, there was a new friend who came in from Philippines. Ryan just came
Welcome,
in.
welcome, Ryan. Yes, enjoy the show. So what actually the GPS is? It's a digital map. It's a digital map, and with the help of compass, it's giving you the location. All right. But now the problem is, how can an electronic device work with a magnetic device, because they are not compatible? Okay. So how does this happen?
It doesn't happen.
But let's see
That's
how
the
it
funny
happened. We're
thing.
gonna show you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see. Yeah, that's the problem. It shouldn't. It's not possible. That's why. How can an electronic device work with a magnetic device even though they are not compatible, and without internet or satellite? Because we know satellite is not functioning anywhere. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We all know the functions of a compass to give the right direction with respect to north and south pole of the earth by use of magnetism. But due to interference in communication, the smartphone does not use a magnet. As one of its components, a smartphone uses a new technology which does the exact same work as a conventional compass does. The smartphone have a small magnetometer built in, which can measure the Earth's magnetic field. This information is combined with accelerator that acquires information regarding to the phone in space. If ultra-low frequency signals coming from a specific direction like north or south pole, the accelerator can actually calculate the exact orientation and direction of Earth. This can be called orbiting. In 1879, Edwin Hall devised monthly shipments across two electrical conductors. When the electrical conductors arise, transfers to an electric current in the conductor and an applied magnetic field perpendicular to the current. By using the Hall's theory, it was too easy for scientists to put sensors at different angles. Thus, by the use of multi-sensors at different orientations, one can actually have their own magnetic field which can.
So you're getting what he explained. So because of the magnetic field and these sensors, you can get this magnetic flux, and you get your location. Like the phone can be moving, the phone knows its location on the map is because of the magnetic field entering through these sensors. Okay, it's like an electronic compass, to say, to make it more easy for the people to understand. Okay, and combined with the maps. Okay, that's why you don't need internet for GPS to work. Okay, because that's why it's a problem. Why we don't have coverage out of city for mobile phones? Why, if we have satellites, why we don't have coverage out of cities? It should be opposite, right?
Yes, but there is one thing I think that is missing on this video is like the GPS. It doesn't use the satellites, but it uses the internet connection on the surface. I mean, he goes to the tower and check it out where the object is and give the coordinations. Okay, you are now here. I mean, it doesn't mean when I'm saying internet, doesn't mean internet himself. It means he just sent a signal to the tower and then received another signal by saying, okay, you change position from this point to another. I don't think it has to do with this magnetic flow on the surface
Okay,
because
give me one
otherwise,
example. Akala, give me one example. Imagine that you don't have mega on your phone. Okay,
uh
and
huh.
you are in forest and there is no coverage. Okay, you don't have mega in your phone. You think any of your application in your Google is gonna work without mega? No, right?
No, 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 no. But the cell phone himself will gonna keep sending data to the closest tower next to me.
Yeah,
Even
but if you don't have a close tower to you, all the mega you have is useless, right?
not really. That's
Yes,
the
yeah, no,
truth.
no, no. I think it's useless because if you don't have coverage for your internet anywhere you are,
But you
your
can
mega
still.
is useless. Your mega is useless if you
Hold on
don't
a
have
second.
the coverage of the tower, right?
For us, normal people, yes, but not for the companies, because the company still knows where you are, because you can still make a phone call, and you can send the signal to the communication service.
Yeah, but there are many places which you don't take the phone coverage. If you're not taking the phone coverage, if you're not taking your internet connection,
Oh,
where are your
okay,
satellites?
okay, yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
correct.
What I'm
Yes.
trying to explain, is that with even if you have mega on your phone, and if you're not near to your connecting tower, your megas are useless. You are going to get
Definitely,
lost in
yes,
the forest. Your Google map is not going to work. Okay, but
exactly, yes,
but
yes,
but
I agree.
but if you in your mobile you have
Mm-hmm.
Google map, but you have a particular area saved. If you have that particular area, imagine you are in one part of the forest or of
Mm-hmm.
land that you have saved, but and if you are lost in this forest,
Yes,
and even if you don't have mega but you have this map saved, and because of the sensors in the mobile, and because of the magnetic field, your GPS gonna work. It's not your GPS, it's the magnetic field what is showing you. You're getting my point, Celino, what I'm
yes,
trying to
yes.
say?
I think Selena has to go, but
Eh?
but I think Selena has to go because his wife is waiting. Um,
Okay, cool,
but
cool.
I'm not sure. But yes, I
you
understand
got
what
my
you're saying.
you got my idea. Yeah.
I
So this
understand
has
what you
been,
said, Vika.
yeah, this has been proved, there's
Yeah, 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 yeah,
Akala.
yeah. Yes,
And okay, let's finish the video. One moment, and we
exactly.
are
Yeah.
almost done.
Okay.
With the Earth's magnetic field. By analyzing Earth's magnetic field, the sensors allow a phone to determine its position and the direction very accurately.
The Hall effect is the most common method of measuring magnetic field. And Hall effect sensors are very popular and have many contemporary applications. For example, they can be found in vehicles as wheel speed sensors, as well as crankshaft or camshaft position sensors. Also, they are often used as switches, MEMS compasses, proximity sensors, and so on.
That's what is. If you have data on your phone and you are lost in the outback, you are screwed because there are no towers to get
to get
coverage.
coverage. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. But that's what I was
But
trying.
yeah. But if you
That
have a Google map saved on your phone of that particular region, and even if you don't have data, you are good to go. You're not gonna get lost because it's gonna work.
exactly because you still have the information on your cell phone.
Exactly,
Um,
and the people will call it GPS, but it's not GPS. It's the sensors that are working with the magnetic field, which is showing you
mhm.
your location on the map, that the digital map. More or less, you
Exactly.
get
Yeah.
it. Awesome.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. Um, it's try to. Um, Sometimes it's hard to explain basic stuff um, with simple things. But yeah, I did understand what he said, and you as well. So that's what matters. Um,
Wow. Well, I think it was an awesome session. Thank everyone for coming, and the ones who are watching and the ones who are will watch it later. And for sure, we're gonna have another surprise for next week. Celino had to leave because he was busy. And anyways, thanks Celino for coming, and thanks to you Tambien Akala for coming, man,
uh,
and all your input was really nice to have you here too.
you're welcome, and feel free to buzz me anytime. And Selena, was nice to meet you, and we hope to see you again.
Yes. Thanks to have you here. So
And
yeah,
just one
yeah,
more thing. A
yes,
terra é plana, the earth is flat.
yes. The earth is flat. La tierra es plana.
A terra plana. Okay, my brother. See you soon.
Yes, yes. Well, thank you, everyone.
And
I hope you all enjoy. So you saw today that satellites are really for no use, right from the communication to navigation. In all aspect of navigation, we saw that it's totally useless. All the cables all around the world is the World Wide Web. That's the real web. If something happens to the web, yeah, there is no internet anywhere. So that's the real satellites. And we also saw that the gps have nothing to do also with satellites and how it's working. So I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll tune in next week for our next surprise. Have a great weekend, and this is Vika signing off from Truth in Plain Sight Live. Bye.
see ya all.